Hey everybody, welcome to the last IT podcast in the world. I'm David, he's Derek. How are you, Derek?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Hey, today we're going to talk about some unsolicited opinions of mine, as well as some AI near misses where it just didn't get it right. So let's get into it, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. This new segment, if we had music for it, and we don't, I would call the unsolicited opinion segment. And that is where I realized that sometimes, as I say, I've got some opinions up here in my head. I've got some more in this closet back over here. And then for the ones that don't fit in the house, I've actually rented a storage shed where I keep all my spare opinions. And so I've hauled some oldies but goodies out. And they're all kind of in the topic of things that sort of bug me slightly, but not seriously. And one of them is email naming conventions. Like, what email address are we going to give to our employees / new employees? Does this resonate? I'm alone in this, right? This is just self-therapy for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And there's a interesting variety of them. They tell you a lot about the culture. Like, I've had ones where it's a number.
Oh, right.
Really makes you feel important, by the way. Like,
remember, at our company, you're more than just a number, except for your email address. So let's talk about some of the more common ones that I've seen, and I'll sort of rank them on my like or dislike scale. So I've got a favorite, but I'll hold it. Let's look at some examples. A very common one is first initial jammed right into your last name.
Don't like that one.
How come? Do tell.
Lots of horror stories about people for whom that combination is really problematic.
Right.
No one envisioned their name running together like that.
I've made up a person. Would you like to hear her name?
Yes, I would love to hear that name.
Her name is Sarah Hitterman, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sarah Hitterman would probably not like to go work at a company where it's her first initial and her last name. And there's, as you know, an infinite number. We could go totally junior high boy here.
Yeah. Lots of ways that could go.
Yeah. And so in all these, I have the question, why? First of all, we've got like free range IT admins out there that can make up apparently whatever they want. I'm going to guess the CEO didn't necessarily say, okay, here's how I'd like the email address format to be. Some IT admin said this, and probably the people in the business didn't know there were any other options.
Right. And with our 20 employees at the time or whatever it was decided, it all checked out.
Yeah. And by the way, the first initial last name would benefit greatly from just a dot between them. If you have to do that, then our minds don't jam them together.
It's you feel at least a little bit guilty for running them together. Like that's your own fault as the reader, not what's actually presented to you. Right.
So another one that's not my favorite, I'm not really giving them number scales, is just your three initials.
Another one that could go real bad.
Yeah. Or just like people asking you all the time, hey, what's your middle initial?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you, or something. And again, I'm left answering myself. This is an identifier. We're making an identifier for people. Hey, what's your identifier that I can send you messages at?
Right.
I don't know why obscure or short is any better.
Right.
Than just.
And let's be real about how often are we actually typing this name in? Like,
thank you. Let's tell the listeners, some of whom aren't maybe IT professionals, why is that?
We have address books and Active Directories that have that. So for internal emails, you're searching by the person's name anyway.
My Outlook, once I use an email address once, it gives me a type ahead. It'll find it for me.
Much like we don't memorize phone numbers anymore. It's just not.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the three initials, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm moving towards one of my least favorites, but between that one is now I'm a hypocrite here. First name only.
See, if you can pull it off, I kind of like the swagger. If you're either important enough, as you are in your organization, or small enough to pull that off, it's kind of a cool startup-y vibe. I think if as long as you can stay to a size where that'll work.
That's the problem. So let me tell you a quick story about first name. I was once at a company that got acquired by a medium larger company, but the combined companies were 500 employees.
Mm.
And the CEO really wanted us all to have first name email addresses. See any problems yet, Derek?
Yeah, at 500, you're gonna have
Right. So
a
guess
lot
what?
of
I
collisions.
spent an afternoon one day because we were on 3 mail servers or systems at the time. I asked for downloads of all the users. I put them into an Excel spreadsheet. I Pareto charted on first name. And like I think Matt's were 7 and John's were 5 and Sarah's were 6
Mm-hmm.
and I literally had to make a Pareto chart for a CEO, which probably in his mind could have done the same thing. If we have 500 people on our way to 1,000, are we going to do the dumb? Are we going to do David 1, David 2, David 3,
Right.
David 4, which I
And how does
hate.
David
Strong word.
Four feel at that point?
Yeah, exactly. And so I literally had to use an afternoon and data to say that
This
won't
is
work.
this
Now,
is a bad idea.
if you're the CEO and you'd like to be first name at, totally fine.
Right. It's an
But
exception.
we can't probably use it for everybody.
Yeah.
And by the way, mine, I use first name at alt-cio.com because I am a one employee shop. And if I ever hire another, and so anyway, a hypocrite. I don't love that. But you're right. Like if it's Bono at u2.com, maybe
Yeah.
that's, got a little
That's
bit of
fair.
swagger. Elon at
Elon at Tesla. I
tesla.com.
think
Yeah,
that's
fine.
yeah.
You can have that. Okay. So one of my least favorites is the 3 or 4 letters of your first name plus 3 or 4 letters of your
Mm.
last name, no separator. Have you ever encountered it?
I don't think I've had that exact one, but I've had that like that shortened combination stitched together. Maybe three
Is
is the
that called
first.
a portmanteau?
Ooh, big word.
Do you know portmanteau? That's like Brangelina. If you
Okay.
jam 2 words together and make a new word, I think that's called a portmanteau.
Okay.
It doesn't work for email addresses, and I don't understand the sick mind that thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
I've seen it more than once.
Very similar to the first initial last name thing. Lots of
Yeah,
ways that can go sideways.
yeah. So we're tracking towards my favorite, but before we get there, I'll give you my almost there, but just missed it by a bit. First formal legal name dot last name.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're Bill and nobody calls you anything but Bill and you're Bill everywhere you go, but your email address is William, or you're Rob or Robbie, but they forced you into Robert. And so nobody like, so we're getting close. I like first name dot last name.
Yeah.
It's right. It's the same way you greet people. Hello, my name is
Yeah.
David dot Wheat. uh, but like and so that's called legal first name, preferred first name.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what you like to be called. If you
Right.
went by DJ, which is just what I call you, and it was DJ Johnson, fine
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Fine.
You and I worked at a company that had more than one first name Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba dot last name. Hey man, welcome to your new email address, right? Like,
Right.
so preferred first name, whatever it is, dot last name is my favorite.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about the
Now,
preferred versus legal. That's
yeah, that's why I always ask. So we're wrapping this unsolicited opinion up, but just really quickly, um, there is a case for people who have incredibly long, difficult last names,
mm-hmm.
and there's a thing called email aliasing, where if you were Derek Johnsoninsky Inovich Ininsky, for
Mm-hmm.
example,
Yeah. A lot of those out there.
that could be your actual full email address, just like we said. But you can have an alias that is a secondary email address that you could say, you can email me at derek.j or Derek J. If there needs to be
Mm-hmm.
like a little exception, like you can have more than one email address and they all work, they all get mailed to you. So anyway,
Yep.
these are the
And
things that I struggle with.
and then you're at least dealing with the hard cases as a hard case and
Correct.
not building a hard system for everyone.
And back to the CEO who wants first name, you can still give him a first dot last alias so it
And
works,
give him an
but his
alias.
main email, so aliasing is a great thing. So anyway, I just go through life with these kinds of things and they bug me and I just need to get them out on my podcast. Thank you, Derek.
And I got to learn about portmanteau. So
Yeah, here's your $150 an hour for therapy. Thank you. But we're not done yet. Unsolicited opinion number 2. Or let me, here's an unsolicited opinion for you as well. Have you noticed sort of the different headshots of people who join video meetings? And does it ever register you as odd? Or am I still sort of
yeah,
the freak
no,
here?
there's some interesting variations there.
Yeah. I'll tell you the ones that uh, that I don't understand. By the way, what we're doing right now is we are facing our camera,
Mm-hmm.
which gives us the appearance of like we're actually talking to each other.
Right.
There's one that I'm going to demonstrate if I can that I don't quite understand, which is someone is working. I'm going to lose my audio for a minute. They're working this
Mm-hmm.
way,
Mm-hmm.
and
See
they
that a
attend
lot.
the. I call that the coin, the U.S. quarter, the
Yes.
the George Washington on the
The George
quarter or whoever's
Washington
on the quarter.
profile.
There are some people who join an entire meeting with a side view camera,
Mm-hmm.
so I can see their profile facing not me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just oddly depersonalizing.
Right. Because even if they're looking at you on that monitor that's to the side, it looks like they're doing something else.
Yeah, and I,
It's
I
the
don't I don't understand the logistics. Why can't the camera be
right
where it needs? I think it feels like it's more effort to go put a camera over there
on the side.
for the side shot. And
Yeah. I will say, like in consulting land, I don't know if you have this where you have multiple devices going. Sometimes you'll have a camera on one and multiple monitors, and I could see how that could happen, but it wouldn't take a lot of effort to get it aligned.
right, I'll allow it. I'll allow there to be
Yeah.
some exceptions. The
But it
other
does give
one,
a very strong, I'm not really engaged by.
yeah, the other one that doesn't quite make sense to me is the disembodied head, wherein their head, the only thing you can't even see neck. It's just their head at the
Mm,
very bottom of the screen. All this wasted real estate, and I think it's from a camera angle that might be really high or low or something. But
okay.
but all you can see at the very bottom of the
Mm.
screen is just a head, and I just want to go like tilt their camera for them and just
Like
like
you need to see a
because
little bit of neck
why does
or
that bother
shoulder.
them? But it's like the opposite of the headless horseman. It's just like
Yeah.
the head floating in space kind of a
That
thing.
coupled with like a really interesting fake background.
Yes,
Really, yeah.
which is I'm glad you said that, and the background really throws me off. These aren't important people. Like we're fine. We're still friends, but I just don't understand it. I need some help. Then there's one I call the extreme portrait. There are people who are sitting at their computer but always join the video from their phone.
Mm,
So you get the
the
iPhone or the
clips.
Android's like tall rectangle, which is no big deal. But I'm always like, huh.
Seems like the hardest possible way to do this. But
It maybe it's because their laptop lid is closed because they've got a keyboard and they just use that as their camera. But
that
okay,
could
fine,
be.
not a big deal. And of course, the perpetual camera off. Like I've never seen this person in 12 meetings
Mm-hmm.
is maybe the worst case. There's, I'd prefer
The
the
floating head
floating
to the
disembodied head or the side shot, the quarter shot, we'll call it, to the camera. I mean, like if you're eating, I get it. If you've got kids running around, I get it. You got to turn your camera off, but
Mhm.
it's a video world, people. So those are any other, like, do you have anything to add to that?
One that I've seen is the extremely low angle where you see like the person's nostrils and their ceiling fan. Like it's a real
Yep.
vertical view of their
Yep.
office.
By the way, Dell a few years ago came out with a laptop that had the embedded camera, not at the top of the bezel, but at the
Oh,
bottom left of the bezel,
hmm.
which almost couldn't avoid the up the nasal, up the chin shot.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly unpopular. I know because we shipped some to our employees at the time, and
Yeah.
it was not a win.
I
So,
have seen some good cameras that clip on the side of the monitor better, so you get the height issue fixed. Where it's like I've got mine
oh,
on top of the monitor, but you at least get the horizontal level
right.
adjust a little
It's
bit.
more like you're good. Okay. Well, oh man, feels good to get those two things off my chest. Thanks for that,
Oh,
Derek. And we
yeah.
will move on to the next segment right after this short break. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the pod. And this next segment, just some AI adjacent stuff. Some things AI maybe isn't doing very well that we noticed recently. I don't know, like LinkedIn, Facebook, everything now on every post has these little embedded AI prompts that you could click on. And some of them aren't so terrific. I'll give you an example. Derek, we talked about this previously. Let me bring it up. I was on one of the socials, and I don't know why this came into my feed. I really don't. And it shows a photo. It's an actual photograph, not an AI photograph. It's a guy driving a highly motorized wheelbarrow. I guess wheelbarrow racing or speed records are a thing. You take a motor, you attach it to an ordinary garden wheelbarrow, it goes on the wheel. You've got like a little kind of Ben Hur style chariot cart right behind it that you hold on to, kind of kneeling on it. So there's a picture of a guy driving a wheelbarrow with a helmet and leathers on, going really, really fast. And the caption, not the AI caption, is this wheelbarrow has a new land speed record, which is terrific. And
Yeah, good for
the
them.
prompts, the prompts though that I could have pressed on this social media platform to sort of dive deeper seemed a little bit off. The first one was, "How safe is driving at 52 miles an hour?" So let's forget AI. Let's answer that. How safe is Derek driving at 52 miles an hour?
As we like to say, it depends.
Right. Like for example, are you on roller skates?
Are you on roller skates? Are you driving I don't know, a modern vehicle on an interstate highway? No,
Yeah.
but for the other reason, you should be going faster.
Are you driving through a school zone during
Yeah,
loading and unloading zone? I'd
yeah.
say no to that one.
Is
No,
it
it's not.
icy? Are you going through an icy roundabout? Maybe,
Yeah.
probably
How
not.
safe is it to drive 52? I love the precision too because it took the
Yes,
52 right out of the, like
53 might be a little dodgy, but
52 is fine, but I'm glad you didn't say 53. Next question. So anyway, that was weird. The next prompt though was my favorite. And this is the AI prompt. This is the AI generated prompt for us to dig deeper. Can I buy a car that goes 52 miles an hour?
gosh, I hope so.
I was thought, what a terrific question. These are the things I never asked a
Yeah,
dealership. Excuse me. I've asked a lot about the mileage, the warranty, the
mhm.
features, but I failed to ask, can this car go 52 miles an hour?
Yeah.
I mean,
To be fair, when I was 16, I had my first car that was marginal if we were going uphill or into the wind. So
okay, right. So there are some
there
places
are
where
some
that could
vehicles
be.
that won't do it.
Anyway, I thought that was hey hashtag AI, do better, okay? Like grow
Yeah.
up. Like
No, I've rarely seen those that are very that you read those and you're like, if you were doing QA on the AI product, you would be like, yeah, that's exactly what I should be
oh
asking in response
oh
to this
that's
article.
the one I want to click, right? The
Yeah,
compelling thing that
yeah, that's exactly.
let's
I will
dive
say
deeper.
my favorite thing about those is how they defang clickbait articles because just like in yours, it's we set a new land speed record. And what's the AI tell you? 52 miles an hour. Or I saw
Right.
one that was like, this Central Texas town is getting a new blah 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 store, and it's facts about New Braunfels. Or like, okay,
Yeah.
so thank you
Good.
for
So
saving me a click. way to
Yeah.
defang those, but it's not the intent. It's a nice side effect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try to be more positive. Maybe next time I'll look for a positive prompt that made me want to dig deeper. But so far,
If you find
can
a
I buy
really
a
good
car
one,
that goes 52
I'd
miles
love
an
to see
hour
it.
was not it. All right. So here's another example. You and I are used to be pretty big fans of Spotify's AI DJX.
Hmm.
He's pumping together playlists for us based on something something. How are you doing? Still listening to DJX or not so much anymore?
Not so much. I had my list, and I'm good with my list.
Me too. And the reason why was I kept listening to DJX almost exclusively, which made a self-fulfilling loop for DJX.
Mm.
And literally, I was just listening to about the same 40 songs no matter what.
Hmm.
I'd press genre, and he'd just play. One time he played the song he had just finished playing in the last list. So not so smart. But here's
Yeah.
what I noticed the other day. This may not surprise anybody given my age and status in society based on that, my decades. But he was sometimes they'll do an extended intro to a band. Hey, I'm going to play you some songs from, in this case, Electric Light Orchestra. And then
Okay.
they give you a little bit about the band. Like they were big, they're from the UK and blah, blah, blah. And then he said, sometimes they're known as ELO. And I was like, you mean ELO? And you're close, but you're
Not
wrong,
quite.
which leads me to another word in a minute. Go ahead
No,
and
go
go
ahead.
on that.
I
So,
don't.
do you know what the word shibboleth is?
Yes.
Oh, really? Do tell.
So, and pardon me if I butcher it, but it was a word that could only be pronounced correctly by, I think, native um, Hebrews, right? And
Right.
so if you encountered somebody else and they couldn't say that word, if they had a lisp or something when they
They
said
were a
that you,
spy or a traitor.
yeah, exactly.
And in most of these legends, they were killed immediately.
Yeah.
So all languages sort of have these stories about a shibboleth, which is like, the French can pronounce this phrase easily, but the people who are trying to pretend to be French can't.
Can't.
Even Americans have this a little bit. A shibboleth is sort of a verbal cue that says we are truly of the same tribe, literally
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
example. And so I think we need like an AI shibboleth so that we can prove to each other that we're humans. And maybe it's,
Hmm.
hey, what's the short name of the band known as Electric Light Orchestra for now?
Yeah. That's a pretty good one.
And if it says Elo, we kill AI immediately because we know it's coming for us.
Hmm.
All right.
Much like if there's an AI generated image, the hands will do it in, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
If you can't
You've
draw,
got 3 hands and 6 fingers.
yeah,
Exactly.
okay. I think we're done.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we need to keep this in mind. If the AI is going to be our overlords, we're going to have some verbal cue that throws them every time. Maybe Elo is not the best example, but we'll come up with something for sure.
Yeah.
All
We
right,
need like a
good. Oh,
verbal SQL injection attack.
really quickly and somewhat AI adjacent. Have you ever wondered why the little thing that says "click here to say I'm not a robot" works? You don't have to
Yeah.
like type in a weird character. You don't have to choose bicycle parts or do the ship of Theseus.
Right. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Why
but
does this
just all you
fix?
have to do is click it. Have you ever read about why that works?
No.
So I saw a fascinating article, and it's essentially a robot wherever the mouse is makes
Hmm.
a beeline and clicks it like the straightest line you've ever seen.
Okay.
And that is not how humans move their mouse.
Oh.
If you could observe your mouse movements throughout a day, it would look like a band of rabid chimpanzees got a hold of an etch a sketch
Hmm.
because it's all jiggly like this. So we pause. We get close, then we
Right.
pause, and then we get on it, and then we think about it, and then we click. And there's a very human way
Hmm.
that it is tracking your mouse movement
Ah.
versus a robot. And even when some of these advanced robots try to emulate humans, sort of like herky jerky, they can't do it.
Right. That makes sense because
So,
it's just going to a XY coordinate on the screen.
yeah.
So from here to
And
here.
even when it tries to weave and bob, it does it like a robot and not like human beings. So,
Interesting. Did not know
fun
that.
fact. Okay, that's the.
I would much prefer that to the, is this a motorcycle?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, or a bicycle where the
Yeah.
like an eighth inch of the pedal is in the other
Yeah.
frame, or maybe even cut off by the
Is
line.
the rider
Terrible.
part of the bicycle?
Right. Right. All right. Good. That's our kind of AI fails or AI meltdown topic for this week. We'll be back right after this brief interlude. All right, Derek. So that brings us to the "What Did I Learn Today" segment. What did you learn today?
I learned what portmanteau means. That's one of those words that I've come across, and I kind of felt like I knew what it meant, but now I really know what it means. So,
Yeah, one of the most famous examples, which is a little bit surprising, is motel. The portmanteau of the two words.
motor hotel.
Yeah, but we don't even think that anymore. I mean,
It's
we know.
just,
So that when you look up that in the dictionary, it's one of the famous examples. Motor hotel equals motel. And I learned that you knew the word shibboleth, which I guess that puts you in, I don't know, the top 98% of the world who doesn't know the word shibboleth, but it is a pretty cool word.
it'll keep
We
you
should come up
safe
with
in
a
these
shibboleth.
situations.
Exactly. You and I should come up with our own shibboleth so that we could, like,
Oh, yeah.
if we needed like a secret code
Is
word.
this really you?
Right. I have no idea what that word would be. All right. Well, we learned some new words or explored some new words today. Good for us. Vocabulary building for us and our listeners here on the podcast. That's it for this episode. Thanks again, DJ. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.